So a lot of demand in Canada's housing market actually comes from first-time home buyers. In fact, Bank of Canada says first-time home buyers make about 50% of all home purchases in Canada. This means they play a crucial role in shaping market trends. So if you're a first-time home buyer, this video is for you because I'm going to share important tips which will help you to make an informed decision while making that first purchase. And just to reintroduce myself, my name is Amrit. I help buy and sell real estate in the city of Toronto, and I also make educational content around real estate. So if you get any questions about real estate, you can book a call with me by clicking on the first link mentioned in the description below. First is you need to know your why, that why do you want to buy real estate, or why do you want to get into the market? Are you buying because you think it's a great way to get rich quick, or you see real estate as a long-term way to build wealth? If the answer is you think this is as a get rich quick scheme, then probably it's not the best idea. But if you think this is a long-term play, then it makes sense to get into real estate market. Further, or you feel everyone around you has bought real estate and you were kind of left behind, basically fear of missing out, then again, I don't think it's the best idea to just jump into the real estate market. But on the flip side, if you think you are someone who's looking for stability to build equity and a place to call home, then it makes sense to get into real estate market. So I would suggest to write down their goals and objectives, why you want to get into the market, and then make a decision accordingly. So my second piece of advice, if you're someone who's a first-time home buyer, is that buying with a long-term mindset. So I'm going to show you a chart of Greater Toronto area because that's the market I service. I'm going to show the chart showing the trend line of average prices of all property types since 2000s up till now. And here you can see the market has gone through its ups and downs, but over the long run, it has gone in upward direction. And if we zoom in towards the year of 2017, here we can see the market there's a quick upward blip over here, or kind of a mini bubble. And after that, we can see a downward pressure onto the prices. And here it took about 2 to 3 years for the market to recover. And to be fair, that was in the year of 2020. By that time, the market recovered. And to be fair, in that year, we had ultra low interest rates. So that also helped the market to recover quickly. And if you fast forward towards the year of 2022, in the February, March of 2022 here, the market went through off the charts, and that is where again Bank of Canada stepped in. They introduced multiple interest rate hikes, and we can see downward pressure onto the prices. So this is a classic example that real estate prices don't always go up. They go up and down, but over the long term, they go in upward direction. So the point I'm trying to make over here is that if you're someone who's a first-time home buyer and who's buying in today's market, I would buy it with a long-term mindset, that minimum with a 5 to 6 years of timeline, so that in the short term, you can avoid the volatility of prices. And over the long term, the history has shown us that prices eventually go up. And further, I want to make one more point, is that since the 2000s, the prices in GTA have doubled. If you see in the 2000s to 2010, the prices have doubled, and from 2010 to 2020, the prices again doubled. But in the decade of 2020 to 2030, I don't think so we're going to experience similar amount of growth, but we will see how things pan out. So third tip for a first-time home buyer is buying at the best price possible, or the right price possible. So I strongly believe that in real estate, you make money at the time of buying. That is buying at the right price or best price possible, so that you have enough leg room at the time of selling it. So how do you make sure that you're buying at the right prices? That is by understanding the market in depth. And how do you understand the market? Is the best metric to understand the market is to understand the month of inventory in a specific market. If the month of inventory is between 1 to 3 months in a specific market, we are in a seller's market. And if the month of inventory is between 4 to 6 months, then we are in kind of a balanced market. And if the month of inventory is beyond 6 months, then as a buyer, you have cards in your hand. So, and how to calculate month of inventory? So month of inventory is calculated by dividing active listings by number of sales. And you can find this information online. It's a public information. For example, in Toronto, you can go on TRREB website and you can pull out active listings and number of sales, and you divide those, you can get the month of inventory. So I'm going to show you an example in downtown Toronto. For condos, we are sitting out on 8 months of inventory. So as a buyer, I would negotiate hard, because for condos, we are in a strong buyer's market. And on the flip side, for townhouses, let's say in Leslieville, that is east end of Toronto, the story is opposite. We are sitting out on just shy of 2 months of inventory. So that is a seller's market. So as a buyer, you will be competing in multiple offer situations. Chances are high, but it depends from pocket to pocket. And also, if you're looking for more in-depth numbers for the market, I make market update videos. So you can check out the most recent market update video by clicking on the top right corner of the screen. And also, if you made this far to the video, I would really appreciate if you can smash the like button. And if you got any value, please subscribe to the channel, because it really helps the small channel like this to grow. So now let's continue. So the fourth advice or tip I would give to a first-time home buyer is that is run the numbers in detail. That is, do a comparison if that renting makes sense for you or buying makes sense for you. So online, I see a lot of gimmick lines that renting is a waste of money, or renting is like paying someone else's mortgage, or renting is just like throwing money away. I disagree with these statements. These statements sounds wise on the surface, but they ignore a lot of context, because renting gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom to move around. Renting is a great short-term plan, but at the same time, it is not a good forever plan in my opinion. And I'll explain you how, because I'm going to run the numbers between renting and buying. And now just run the numbers and do comparison between renting and buying. I'm going to take a number for the renting side of things. It's going to be $2,300 for a one-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto. And on the flip side, you can find, if you're looking to buy, you can, in today's market, you can find a decent one-bedroom condo for about like $550,000 to $600,000. So I'm going to run the numbers first on the buying side of things. So let's say if you're buying a condo worth $600,000, and I'm going to take a scenario of 20%, you're putting down $120,000 as a down payment. And if you see amortization period to be 25 years, amortization period basically means the length of the mortgage. And with new mortgage rules, you can extend this period to 30 years, but I'm not the biggest fan of that, to be honest. So I've kept this as 25 years. So your monthly carrying cost comes down to $2,522. But this is not just the only cost which is associated on buying side of things. You also have to pay maintenance fees and property tax. So I'm going to run those numbers as well. So your carrying cost, so monthly mortgage is $2,552. Your maintenance fee I'm going to take as $450 at an average, give and take. And your property tax also I'm going to take as $250 a month at an average. So your monthly carrying cost comes down to $3,200, which is expensive as compared to renting. There's a $900 difference. But to justify this $900 difference, I'll have to decode these numbers in detail. So please hang in there. Give me some time. So if we run this number, so your monthly carrying cost, a monthly mortgage is $2,522, which we discussed in the previous slide. And out of that $2,522, you'll pay principal amount of $956, and the balance remaining will go towards the interest, that is $1,565. And if we calculate this annually, so you'll be making or building equity of $11,472 a year, and you'll be paying interest of $18,780 a year. So we can argue interest is like paying rent. So this money is basically you're paying rent or interest towards a rent. And we also have to consider, if you're buying, you also have to pay maintenance fees. That is $5,400 a year, which is basically $450 into 12. And on top of this, you also have to pay property taxes. That is $3,000 a year. That is a calculation of $250 into 12. Okay. So in total, you'll be paying interest, maintenance fees, property taxes. The amount comes down to $27,000, and you'll be building an equity of $11,000, give and take. And if you compare this number with the renting side of things, that is, if you're someone who's paying a rent of $2,300, so in total and annually, you'll be paying $27,000 as a rent towards rent. So the difference is, if you're someone who's buying, you'll build some equity, and the similar amount of rent you'll be paid towards the interest as well as maintenance fees and property taxes. And on the right side, you can see on the rental side of things, you'll be paying $20,000, which is similar to what you paid on the interest towards the rental side of things. So the point I'm trying to make over here is, if you're someone who has a stable job in today's market, and if you plan to stay put for the long term, it makes sense to enter the market on the buy side of things. But on the flip side, if you think you don't have a stable job and you plan to move around, then it makes sense to rent, and or the short term, it makes sense to rent. And speaking of short term and long term, I just want to show you one more chart. If you're someone who decides to rent over the long term, that is, let's say 25 years, you will end up paying just shy of $900,000 if your rent is $2,300 in today's market. With an year-over-year increase of 2.5%, you will end up paying this amount of rent over the period of 25 years. So in my opinion, it makes sense to buy over the long run, but in the short term, it's okay to rent. And my fifth advice for a first-time home buyer is that to take advantage of government programs. So there are many government programs out there, but the most valuable and the best one, in my opinion, is FHSA, that is First Home Savings Account. This is actually a game changer account. This is going to help you in building that down payment. This is basically a combination of a RRSP and TFSA account. So the main is the tax benefits. Is any contribution which is made towards this account, those can be deducted from your taxable income. Basically, it brings down your taxable income in the year. And secondly, any withdrawal which you make out of this account, those are tax-free, including any investment appreciation as well. So combination of RRSP and TFSA, that's what it is. So if you haven't opened up an account, FHSA account, I would highly recommend to go to the bank and they can open up this account for you. Very valuable, and it's going to help you in a big way in building that down payment. So that's pretty much. I hope I was able to give you some value today, and if I did, then please subscribe to the channel. That really helps. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.